Hi, it's Mr. Kane here, and welcome to the continuation of our waves and energy topic, looking at sound waves. We looked at the last video clip about how waves carry energy, and it led us to sound. And this is what's happening on the outside of the body. We've got the sound waves being produced by the speaker, travelling through the medium of the air and getting to our ear. In this video we're going to actually have a look at what happens inside the ear, and further on so how the sound waves get turned into the sensors in our brain that we translate into sound. So what happens inside the head. So why on earth do we have hearing in the first place? Why is it so important to us? Well, you want to know who's sneaking up on you. You want to know who's got food in their bag. You can hear the rustling of that chip packet from your mate next door in class. You want to have a scoff too. You want to hear when you've been asked out on a date perhaps. And just generally catching up with the gossip of everybody. So we can hear lots of stuff, but we can't hear lower than 20 hertz or 20, that's the frequency, 20 hertz. We can't hear lower than that. Sometimes some people can sense it in their body, but you can't hear it with your ears, but it does make you feel quite uncomfortable for a long time. And we can't hear higher than the frequency 20,000 hertz. Now we can hear up to that when we're young, but as you age and things wear out, this top end frequency, we lose that as you get older. Right. So how is actually the human ear put together? How is it made? It's got basically three parts. So we've got the outer ear. In this case, that's the big orangey part in the diagram. There's the middle ear, and that's the purple part, and that includes what's known as the eustachian tube, which is, if I get this pen right, where are we? Down over here. Here we go. This tube down here, that connects down this way, it keeps on going down the way, to the back of your throat. So this allows the air pressure inside the middle ear here to be equal with what's in the outer ear out here. So as you go higher in planes or up in the mountains in cars, the air pressure changes, and that puts pressure onto the eardrum, this thing here, which can bulge either in this way or bulge out that way, depending on the change in the air pressure. So the eustachian tube, and this tube here, connects with the back of the throat. So sometimes as you swallow or chew gum or suck on a lolly, you'll feel a sort of a pop in the middle ear, and that's the air pressure equalising to stop any discomfort from the movement of the eardrum in here. So that's why on Air New Zealand they give you lollies. This is you're about to land, to stop this discomfort. As you're sucking on the lolly, it equalises the pressure as you come down to land. And then we've got the inner ear. That's the blue part in this diagram. So let's have a look at this in more detail. So the outer ear is made up of, we've got the pinna. That's the big flappy bit on the outside. Okay, so this is the part, this big flappy bit on the outside of all the wiggles and bumps and lumps. That is the outer ear. Then comes the auditory canal, or in this case here it's called the ear canal. That's the canal here that takes the sound into the ear, and according to medical science you shouldn't put anything bigger than your elbow into your ear canal. And at the very end we've got the eardrum. Right here is a thin piece of membrane or skin that's known as the eardrum, which transfers the vibrations of sound from the ear canal. They've been directed into the ear canal by these folds. It comes in through here, hits the eardrum, causes that to vibrate backwards and forwards, and that transfers things to the middle ear. So that's next. It's got the three smallest bones, and they're named for their shapes, and according to trivia I've read, these are the only bones that have never ever been broken in a skiing accident. Every other bone that the human body possesses has sometime or other in someone's skiing accident been broken, but these small ones, they're actually encased inside of bone, have never been broken. What have we got? We have the hammer bone. Okay, so we have, here's our eardrum, and attached to the back of the eardrum we have the hammer bone. It's this one here. Then we have the anvil, and that is the hammer bangs on the anvil bone, this bit in the middle here, and the anvil bone transfers it to the stirrup bone, and that's this bone here. You can sort of see the stirrup shaped part of it there. So eardrum transfers the vibration to the hammer bone here, and then it goes to the anvil bone here, to the stirrup bone there. Okay. Plus there's a eustachian tube attached into the middle ear as well. So the inner ear, let's get right down into the middle of it. Okay, it's got two parts as well. Well, sorry, three. Oops. It has the vestibule. That is the piece just in here. So here's the stirrup bone here. Okay, just inside that, this space here is known as the vestibule. And then we've got the semicircular canals, and that's these here. You've got one that goes up this way, one at right angles to it in this direction, and the one that loops around this way. So they are your balance organs. They have fluid in there, and the fluid sitting there, and when you turn, it moves in these canals, and it activates little sensory nerve endings here, like little hair cells, nerve endings, depending which way you're moving your head, which way these nerve cells get bent, and it tells you which way you're facing, you're leaning or you're tipping or you're spinning. Now when you feel dizzy, it's because you've been spinning around and around and around, and when you stop, the fluid in these keeps on moving for a bit. So even though some of your body organs are telling you that you are standing still, your eyes, these sensory semicircular canals are telling your head you're still moving, which is a bit confusing, so you feel dizzy. And we have the cochlea, which is this spiral snail shaped thing here. That's also connected to the vestibule. So that's the inner ear, and it's from the cochlea that we get the hearing signals sent to the brain. So let's follow the pathway of the sound. So the sound will arrive into the ear canal, go through the eardrum, through the hammer bone, anvil bone, stirrup bone, into the cochlea. Sound moves through this way. Okay. Once the sound has got into the cochlea here, depending on where it is, depends on the frequency we hear. And it travels through the canal, this canal here. The sound is causing that fluid to move, and as that fluid moves, it activates these little hair cells here as they wriggle backwards and forwards. As depending on whereabouts in the cochlea they wriggle and how much they wriggle, it depends on the frequency that you hear and how loud the sound is. And that's where how sound gets into our head through the ear and gets changed into nerve signals that go to our brain. So, any more questions? Replay the video, track down the teacher, or do what everyone else does, ask Google some more. So, hope that was helpful, and thanks for watching.